Nice. Nice. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Welcome to Cafecito con Colon. We are thrilled you are here. Welcome back. As you know, we are really we had to cut way back on our Cafecito episodes, but I'm thrilled that you're back with me today, and it's going to be an exciting episode. We've cut out the bumper music because I got tired of Facebook worrying about copyright and losing the first couple sentences from our guests when they mute us out. And you can never miss a word that Jessica Perea says, because she is the dynamic co-host of Cafecito con Colon when it's brought to you by the New Mexico Hispanic Heritage Committee and Enlace New Mexico. Good morning, Jessica.
Hi, happy Friday. Good morning.
Happy Friday. I've missed you all week. It's been a whole week since we've seen each other. It's great to have you back. I love getting to see you on Fridays. It makes my day.
Oh, thank you. I love being here.
How was your week?
It's been pretty well. The weather's been kind of weird. I don't know about that.
The weather has been weird. You got to dress in layers.
Yeah.
Right? How you're now finishing up the semester. You got 1 month to go. How's it looking?
It's looking pretty good. What do people call it? It's crunch time.
It's crunch time, baby.
Yeah.
You got to be in the zone.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to be in the zone. We want to say good morning to Dr. Joe McCaffrey and our beautiful and incredible friend, Roberta Simoni. Of course, Roberta is going to make it today because her hermana is here on the air with us. We got Irma Ruiz. Good morning, Irma.
Muy buenos días. Thank you so much, Brian. Good morning, Roberta. Good morning, everyone. Brian, thank you so much for the opportunity to have us on Cafecito this morning. Robert and I are very, very excited to be here. Muchísimas gracias. Buenos días a todos.
Gracias por venir. And you look fantastic today. Tell us about your umbrellas in the background there. What do you got going on?
I'm somewhere in Mexico. I can't wait to be able to travel again. But yeah, this is my favorite background here. I'm wearing my Rail Runner red.
Rail Runner red, baby.
It matched beautifully with my umbrellas.
Indeed, as you are always matchy, as Aleli would say. You look great. It's great to have your $1 million smile on Cafecito con Colon. I can't believe we waited a whole 13 months to get you on the air here. We've had over 300 episodes, and it's just, it's great to have one of my dearest friends with me today, Irma Ruiz. So thank you, and thank you for bringing a little bit of Mexico with you as we celebrando nuestra herencia. We're always lifting up our culture, our cultura, our gente, and really telling our story. And you do that so well. You've been our co-chair of the New Mexico Hispanic Heritage Committee for years. We are taking our membership now. We've got open membership for the New Mexico Hispanic Heritage Committee. Dues are very, very reasonable. We hope folks will join up. We're going to elect new co-chairs or a new chair for that committee, which is going to be awesome. We're grateful to the Honorable Clarissa Peña for giving us so much support over recent years. But a lot of that is because of the great working relationship between Irma Ruiz, Dr. Jennifer Gomez Chavez, who are our co-chairs now, and the great Honorable Clarissa Peña. So we appreciate your leadership, Irma. It's going to be tough to have you step down and back into the fold with the rest of us as we elect a new leader of that committee. You have served us so well, and we're grateful to you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you so much. It's been my honor, my pleasure. I've learned so much along the way, met so many wonderful Hispano-Latino leaders, and just collaborated with so many different organizations. I'm stepping down, as you said, but I will still continue to support this wonderful committee and support the new leadership. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You bet. Don Roberto, how's it going over there? Look at that. All business all the time. Roberto gets the job done. I got to tell you, Roberto, you are in very elite company because, you know, we all love Irma so much, and her opinion means the world to me. I'm always trying to get her approval and get good ratings with her. But I know that she shared with me that you are one of the 2 best bosses she's ever had in her entire and very distinguished career. And I happen to know that the other one is the incredible Honorable, the Embajador, Edward Romero. And Ed has co-chaired my campaign since I've been involved in New Mexico's political landscape. He's always by my side. And so I have a very special place in my heart for him. And you rank up there in that rare space. So that's pretty impressive there, Don Roberto.
Well, first of all, I don't think I'm in charge. Like I told you earlier, I work with a lot of Latina women, and I think they really boss me around. So it has anything to do with me. I just know how to follow orders.
There you go. Well, I just appreciate your leadership. How long you been leading over there?
I've been since the conception. I've been here 18 years.
18 years. You're finally an adult. 18 años. That's amazing. You've seen it go from concept to reality and then to incredible service for our community, providing service up and down the I-25 corridor and central New Mexico. We're grateful for your leadership. We're grateful that you hung with it, Robert. I just want to say from a personal level, I remember the initial train ride. We were there, and my wife and my little boy, they were on that inaugural train run. I wasn't able to make it that day, but I remember the groundbreaking and then concept to fruition. And you've been raising this baby, and now it's an adult, 18 years old.
Yeah, and I think it's grown leaps and bounds, and I think there's a lot of good people who put a lot of effort into getting this thing up and running, and now we're hoping that it'll sustain itself. And I think with the people we have on board, I think it will. I think we'll have a great service once we get over COVID. I'm hoping that people come back and start riding the trains.
You bet. Well, I've always had a deep admiration for Mr. Cog, the Mid-Region Council of Governments. It's called Mr. Cog or MR-COG or MRCOG, depending on who's talking and who the audience is and how familiar they are with the work. I've always had an admiration for the work of that body, but as state auditor, I've got an even deeper admiration and gratitude for the collaboration that goes on at Mr. Cog. Frankly, the collaboration that happens in that body is what we should be replicating all over the state. And we're getting it right in some of those ways, but I think you really are the kind of the gold standard of that collaborative approach to leadership and government and civil service. And I know you've been there and just been doing the jale, and we're very, very grateful for that. A lot of us try and do the work, and we then work our way to the front of the camera line, but you're not one that does that. You just do the work, and that humility is something that we should all try and emulate, and it has served New Mexico well. And I just want you to know that I am, as often as I possibly can, I express my gratitude to civil servants in all 33 counties. But let me just tell you personally, I'm grateful for you choosing to be a civil servant when you could have gone private sector, made a lot more money, but you've made a big difference in New Mexico. Thank you, Robert.
No, thank you. And it's, the job is the job. And if you love what you do and you love the people you work with, it makes it a lot easier.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And let me just tell you, when you get to do that job with the people you love, the people of New Mexico, here in the land of enchantment, the Tierra del Encanto, the 47 star on the beautiful flag of the United States of America, it's always a good day. And today it is Friday, the 23rd of April, and we are so pleased to be with you on Cafecito con Colon with my tremendous co-host, Jessica. We want to welcome everybody. We got Jonathan Muniz, Kristen Muniz, lots of great members of the Hispano Heritage Committee, the Hispanic Heritage Committee. Stephanie Mack, Dr. Mack, good to have you with us today. Congratulations, felicidades, otra vez. We just are thrilled you're able to join us. Dr. Lawrence Roybal and of course, Dr. Jennifer Gomez Chavez, they pipe in and join me every morning on Cafecito con Colon when we go to air. And we'll be here tomorrow again with Chief Medina is actually going to join us, talk to us a little bit about his leadership style, his journey, and his days ahead leading the Albuquerque Police Department. And so join us tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for Cafecito con Colon. So let me get you a couple links. I want to say thanks to Paul Mondragon for always joining us. And I think Darlene's with us, if I noticed Darlene dropping by, and Selena, who's always with me. And she always lets me know right before the top of the hour, because she always says, bye, Brian, I'm leaving, like at 9:59. So I always know when I'm going over because Selena has given me the bye message. Catherine, glad you're with us this morning. And Dianza in Valencia, another phenomenal human being from Condado de San Juan, making a difference with AARP every single day. So thank you, Dianza, for your friendship and for your leadership. So I'm going to go ahead and cut away real quick here for just a couple minutes. I'll put up just a few links because I've already gotten us to about 10 after the hour just visiting. Let me put up a few links and then I'll come back. Does that sound all right, Don Roberto and Irma?
Sounds good.
All right. Jessica, I'll be right back, okay? Don't go away. All right, here we go. So folks, welcome back to Cafecito con Colon. Here are my links of the day for you. We've got just a few. I want to really lift up one of my favorites, and she is just doing a great job. But we got the Children's Hour. They're doing an Icky premiere event. This is going to be a radio musical, groundbreaking world premiere coming up. Check it out here. There's the link if you want to sign up for that world premiere of Icky. And thanks to the Children's Hour and Miss Stone for being a visionary, for pivoting during those difficult times and then going, they don't say international, but she is international, but syndicate. I think that it's syndicated now, I think is what they say. So it's not just here on our KUNM, but it's actually syndicated on many radio stations, and she just does an amazing job. So congratulations to her. If you want to give her some support, here is a link to select a membership to be a patrona or a patron of the Children's Hour radio show and podcast. Here is the place to sign up. I'm signing up today. I'm a regular donor, but not in this little monthly donor thing. So I'm going to fix that. I'm going to fix that today. In terms of local news, let me give you some great news. We're making huge progress, obviously, with the vaccinations. We've been getting tons of props. We've been everywhere and featured everywhere for New Mexico's great outreach. The governor's work with the Department of Health, Secretary Collins leading the way there with Dr. Scrace, Secretary Scrace. We've got 57.5% of eligible New Mexicans who've gotten one shot, and over 40%, including me. I got my shot yesterday. I got my second Pfizer yesterday, and I feel great. Zero side effects, not even soreness in my arm. I am feeling fantastic and grateful that we have tremendous leadership in New Mexico, that 4 out of 10 have been fully vaccinated to this point, 40.4%, I think. And now we're going to the next level. Talk about expanding opportunity for safety. We are going to have what they're calling a children's, let's see here. What do they call it? They call it something kind of cool, and I'm not seeing it right away, but here's the deal. Students, they're going to have a kind of a student week for vaccination. They're really blowing it up. Here's the coverage in the Santa Fe Reporter. Starting Monday, all New Mexicans 16 years and older are eligible to self-schedule their vaccination appointments without event codes. So just get online, get it scheduled, get it done. We've all been fully vaccinated here on this show, and we are very grateful for that. Other local news that's pretty awesome. Folks that know me know that I'm a huge fan of the sawmill. I love going there, the Albuquerque Sawmill Market. They're going to give you even more options than they already have there. We got Russia Prana. They sell fresh treats like smoothies and juices and how do you say that word? Acai, or I don't know what that fancy word is, but they sell those little bowls. It's kind of healthy for me. I'd rather go to Thomas Coffee and then get one of those croissants filled with chocolate. But anyway, you can go and get some great stuff, vegan options. I get my chili oil there. There's a New Mexico oil company, like cooking oil place there. There's pasta options. There's just all kinds of great options at the sawmill. So check it out. Congratulations to Jim Long for being the visionary that embraced, again, he is the best. Heritage Hotels and Resorts. He is the best at telling our story and preserving our culture. There, he preserved that sawmill district, put in Chaco right next to Hotel Albuquerque, and then across the street, he's got the sawmill market that took a bunch of reclaimed lumber, honored the history of that particular site, which was a sawmill back in the day. Truly amazing. The other thing we can celebrate in terms of celebrating success in New Mexico. Good morning, Stephanie Ann. Good to see you this morning. And Don Roberto, I better mute you out. We could be getting some confidential information in that conversation. So there we go. So here's a cool story that shows New Mexico and our governor leading the way. There was obviously yesterday was Earth Day. You saw some posts from me on that. But world leaders pledged climate cooperation despite other divisions. It was a great summit. Leaders of Russia and China standing with President Joe Biden on his initiative and with the commitment to preserving Mother Earth, Pachamama. But this was great because at all these world leaders, 2-day US hosted summit, and there was only one governor. Guess whose governor it was? It was ours. Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham was front and center on the world stage yesterday regarding climate. So it was really, really awesome. Congratulations to the governor on that. So that's at the executive level, at the state, and then come back to the city. And Mayor Keller got some cool press and did some cool stuff chasing Trump debt. $211,175.94 is the invoice that is outstanding from the Trump campaign. And the mayor got some really fun coverage on Comedy Central, The Daily Show, and which I kind of really enjoy that show. But check that out. There's a good story from the Albuquerque Journal on that. So I think I better pivot back. Well, here's some national news. Let me give you a couple quick national news, because yesterday was a big day. Not a lot of bipartisan stuff happening in the United States Congress, but I will tell you that yesterday, in an act of bipartisan unity, the Senate approved the Asian American hate crimes bill. Obviously, that has got a particular level of importance and relevance in my life, being married to an incredible naturalized Filipina. And this is a great, great piece. Acts of violence and hatred against Asian descent individuals here in the United States is up 150%. So in my world, it's a collision. We've got anti-Semitism on the rise. We've got violence against people of color, and now against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders that are here in the United States, or those of Asian descent. So check that out. 94-1. The only Republican senator who voted against is Josh Hawley of Missouri. Whatever. I don't know what his problem was, but anyway, you don't really see votes of 94-1 in the United States Senate. Lastly, I'll give you a link to the conversation regarding the president's commitment to addressing the issue of climate, global warming. He wants to cut emissions by 50% in this decade. Pretty aggressive. We're talking about electric cars everywhere, zero net emissions by 2050. Obviously, the chances of the president seeing that ultimate goal in 2050, not really great, nor for John Kerry. But I think the folks on this episode of Cafecito con Colon, it's relevant. We'll be there. We'll see you in 2050, and hopefully we're making that great progress. Finally, the last one was a great dialogue written. It's not a dialogue, it wasn't a conversation, but it's on the conversation. It's an article that is entitled "Declaring Racism a Public Health Crisis Brings More Attention to Solving Long Ignored Racial Gaps in Health." So the CDC joined hundreds of cities and counties across the country in declaring racism a public health threat. That happened just a couple of weeks ago. This is a great story. Check it out. So with that, I think that's where I'm going to land the plane as it relates to the links of the day. What I want to do is give you a quick 60 seconds as I let Jessica Perea prepare to introduce our incredible guests of honor. I'm going to just show you what we're going to talk about today. Pretty awesome. Check this out. Check this out. Start and stop, start and stop. There we go. Nothing stopping our rail runner. Look at that. I love it. I love it. I muted it because the sound isn't that cool, but here's the sound. It's just background noise. You can hear that rolling on the tracks, baby. The New Mexico Railroad. I love that logo, by the way. Just love that branding. There she goes. The New Mexico Rail Runner, ladies and gentlemen. You gotta love it. Check it out. Check it out. I feel like I remember when Lawrence Roybal first unveiled, Lawrence Rael, excuse me, Lawrence Rael, one of the best government civil service in the history of the state of New Mexico in all 109 years. Lawrence is at the top of that list. Happy birthday, Lawrence Rael. It's your birthday month, I think. But I remember when he rolled out that logo, I was in love with it then. I'm still in love with it. We love the New Mexico Rail Runner. We're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about Mr. Cog. We are going to share some great stories with these incredible leaders, Irma Ruiz and Don Roberto Gonzalez. And with that, I'm going to have Jessica Perea take it away and go real slow, because you can cut out a little bit of that. You know, there's so much stuff out there about these two awesome leaders. I gave Jessica a ton of information. Pick out a little bit and then read it real slow, because you want to blow these folks up so good. You get talking as fast as I do. And that's, you know, I talk at 60 words a minute with Gus up to 80. And so you got to slow it down, Jessica, because we love to hear your beautiful voice. Tell us about Robert and Irma. Take it away.
Robert Gonzalez was born in New Mexico and graduated from Rio Grande High School. He attended Western New Mexico University in Silver City. At the age of 19, he was hired as the switchman with the AT and SF Freight Rail Line, where both of his father and his grandfather had worked in the railroad business. He decided not to go back to school and continue to work in the railroad business. In 2004, Robert was asked to join the New Mexico Rail Runner team. Robert joined the Mid-Region Council of Governments as operations manager for the New Mexico Rail Runner. MRCOG is the lead agent for the New Mexico Department of Transportation to manage and operate the New Mexico Rail Runner. Later, Rio Metro Regional Transit District was implemented in an effort to provide public transportation services for the mid-region of New Mexico. Robert is a member of the American Public Transportation Association, General Code of Operation Rules Committee, Interoperable Change Board, and Positive Train Control Operations Support Team. Statewide and nationally, Robert is one of the few Hispanics leading and directing a major form of transportation. Robert's passion and hard work for the railroad business has now reached up to 45 years. Good morning, Robert. Thank you for being on Cafecito. Irma Ruiz. Irma Ruiz works for the Mid-Region Council of Governments as Rio Metro RTD Customer Service and Community Relations Manager. Irma was born in Ciudad Juárez, Chihuahua, Mexico, which has a special place in my heart. That's where my mom is from, and that's where my family is.
Ay,
She
qué
was raised-
linda.
Yes.
Alrighty.
She was raised in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and she graduated from Los Lunas High School.
Hey, go
Also-
Tigers. We're alum. We're both Tigers.
Alumni.
You got it.
Irma has attended various TVI and UNM courses and worked in a variety of areas throughout her career in corporate America, nonprofits, and state government. Her life journey took her from New Mexico to Washington to Texas and before returning to Albuquerque. Irma joined the Rio Metro RTD team as a customer service representative in 2006 and has created customer service department for the New Mexico Rail Runner train service. She quickly realized the need to provide information to the community in Spanish. At the time, Google Translate was not reliable and she was informed there was not a budget for translation services, so she took it upon herself to translate and incorporate both languages on print schedule information materials. Her community work also includes co-chair of the New Mexico Hispanic Heritage Committee, board vice president of Working Classroom, board member and past board president of Vecinos del Bosque, and past board president Casa Varelas, and past board member of the New America Charter School. Buenos días, Irma. Bienvenida.
Buenos días, Jessica. Muchas gracias por tenernos hoy en el programa.
That's great. We're gonna let Jessica take the lead here, but one of the things I want to kind of open up with, Robert, you had a lifetime in this sector, and now you've brought your skill set to really kind of execute on a vision. And I'm wondering if you can just kind of take us back to those early days, the beginning of the Rail Runner. There were a lot of naysayers. There were a lot of folks that thought we were thinking too big. We'll never be able to get all the stakeholders to agree. We got to deal with the indigenous population because we have to run through their land. We have to deal with a number of counties. It's just never going to work. And here we are all these years later. And I'm wondering, I think it would be great for folks to kind of know the history, maybe from your perspective, because you were at the table in those early days. And I think that it'd be fascinating to know where we were and now where we are. And then maybe Irma, maybe you can talk about where we're going, because I know you're all excited about a new program. I'm going to put the access link in here, but maybe that'd be a nice place to start. And then I know Jessica's going to have some great questions for both of you, but Don Roberto, tell us, take us back. And I'm going to have you unmute so we can hear these insights. We're going to have you keep trying to unmute until it works. And maybe I'm going to start with Irma while Don Roberto tries to unmute there. We're going to start with Irma, and let's do reverse order. Tell us about this great access program that you're rolling out, the Rio Metro Access Program. Dígame.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Yes, we received a a grant, a one-year grant from the New Mexico Department of Transportation to implement this new program that we call Rio Metro Access, which provides free train and bus passes to social service agencies throughout the state of New Mexico. So the agency applies to be a part of our program. And if they meet the criteria, then we bring them on board. We're able to provide them with free passes so that they can issue these to their clients. So this is not something that comes from us. They need to go, potential clients need to go to their agency. And there are specific criteria that the agency as well as the client needs to meet. But it's very simple. We've made it as simple and as smooth as possible as we possibly can. Therefore, the name that we came up with, Access. We want to be able for our New Mexico community to be able to access this much needed free public transportation passes. So we just launched the program on April 5th. So we are here for the year. So it started April 5th of 2021, and the program will run through April 5th of 2022. We have brought in a wonderful new team member, Claudia Patricia Merlot, who is our program coordinator. And if you all can put the link up there, if you are an agency or if you are a part of a particular agency, please go on to our website. All of the information is on there. There's a drop down link in there so that you can see who is participating currently. We currently have 9 agencies that are on board with us, and we want to grow that to 90. We have all of these passes that we want to be able to disseminate out into our community. So please go to realmetro.org, find Real Metro Access on there, and Patricia's contact information is on there. Best way to contact her is by email, and all of that information is on there. If not, call our wonderful customer service agents who are available to take your call Monday through Friday from 5 in the morning until 9 p.m. At 505-245-7245.
That is awesome. You are right off the telenovela, and then now you're doing commercials también. You could do it all. Soup to nuts. You're ready to go. Here's your Rio Metro Access program link right there, folks. I put that in the chat. Here's the very cool landing page for realmetro.org. So check that out. You got everything here for planning your trip. Mira, you put in your original Google address there and where you want to go, and you can just put it in there. And then you can purchase tickets online. They make it easy. Roberto says, if we want people's money, we got to make it easy to give it to us. And then all the different destinations, and you can pick up their Twitter feed here, as you can see. So you want to follow them, Rio Metro Alerts, and just tune in, and just a real user-friendly friendly site here. Robert, tell us about the mascot. Look at that cool little mascot you got there. Mira, look at.
Yeah, he's getting a little pudgy. He needs to start working out.
Hey, you sound good. I'm glad we finally found your voice.
Yeah, that was me. I was on mute.
Ooh la la. Well, we're glad you're back. We're glad you're back. So Irma, thank you for that great information and your passion for the work you do. And I know that when it comes to providing access, that's something that's important to you, and working with these social service programs is going to make a real difference. And the aggressive plan you have to increase the number of agencies you're working with, that's going to make a huge difference for New Mexico. Robert, I'm glad you got your voice back, and we'd love to hear some of that history, and then Jessica's going to take it away with some preguntas por hoy.
Well, you know, this was Governor Richardson's, it was his vision. And I think I had the opportunity to work with 2 great people who kind of implemented it. And you spoke about Lawrence Rao earlier. I think Lawrence, as a public servant, he kind of had a vision how this thing would go. And he kind of put, you know, he picked the this color schemes, and he knows what people liked. And he hired a guy named Chris Blewett, who was the workhorse of this. The guy did everything, and you know, from, you talk about from nuts to bolts, he was involved in every aspect of this railroad, from purchasing the equipment to laying out the track to, I mean, it was a big ongoing for the cog. So, and in the early days, you're right, we had a lot of naysayers, and again, I think Chris Blewett went out to the public, and him and Lawrence kind of put the best foot forward, trying to give people all information, how this would work, what it was doing. And I think they lose a lot of sight is that you have I-25, which is it's already, you cannot build any more lanes. And I think their idea was, well, this is another lane of I-25 to go north and south in this quarter. And I think that kind of struck a lot of people. And they went all the way from designing the stations to color schemes, even the color of the pavement. So it was an ongoing, and it was fun to watch this thing mature from its early concept to, you know, running on the old Santa Fe line to building the track up to Santa Fe. It was quite something to see. I got to say, you know, we're having our 18th anniversary coming up in July, and I think what we're trying to do is put together a book that we can hand out to people with the early stages all the way to the operating now. And I think for right now, I think people are starting, I know with COVID kind of set us back a little bit, but we're hoping people will come back and start riding the Rail Runner again. It was a lot of fun. I can tell. It was a lot of hard work, but it was a lot of fun.
What was the pinch point where you just went to bed at night, Robert, and you said, how in the world are Chris and Lawrence going to work their way around this one? Like what was that moment where you went, you know, the train might have just fallen off the tracks and we haven't even built it yet?
No, and I think with Lawrence and his relationship with the governor kind of really set the path, and with Chris's hard work and his ideas on how this thing should operate, I think there was a lot of pitch points, and I think them working cooperatively with the governor and the governor's staff and the Department of Transportation, I think they calmed the waves.
Yeah, and you had to have a lot of legislative buy-in, and then also work collaboratively with our indigenous populations on that corridor, because we had to, my recollection was there was a lot of discussion about how do we preserve the sacred land, how do we respect those communities, because for those of you who have not ridden the Rail Runner yet, it goes right through some very intimate spots on some of our sacred lands. That takes you very close into the community, and we try and be respectful of that. And very early on, they said, look, you know, if it's going to run here, we're going to make sure that the people know that photography is not appropriate, things like that. And those are conversations that most projects never even have to contemplate, but yet you had to have all those conversations, right, Robert?
Right, and I think the whole idea is when you deal with people face to face, and I think we did a lot of that, going up to the legislature, you know, meeting with the DOT, meeting with the indigenous tribes, and kind of putting our best foot forward and trying to set them at ease as how this thing was going to operate. It's all about, you know, when you communicate the right message and you're sincere about it, I think it goes leaps and bounds.
Agreed. And I think that's what you're known for, and probably one of the reasons. And I'm going to get this over to Jessica, I promise. It's only 9:33. We still have 27 minutes left. But I think, you know, if I know anything about you and I know what your peers and colleagues say, like Irma, I think part of it is that sincerity and that authenticity that you bring to the conversation and that you bring to your work. And that passion inspires other. You know, you've got that quiet charisma that people just know you're going to show up. They can count on you being present. And I think that that's really important in civil service, particularly when you're in leadership in civil service. And with that, so it's just gratitude and recognition of your good work, Robert, that I wanted to make sure that we got across, because I'm a fan. I'm obviously a huge fan of Irma's. Irma and I have a very deep and personal relationship, so I could talk for the next 26 minutes about Irma and how much she means to my wife and to my family. But instead of doing that, we're going to keep this Cafecito con Colón brought to you by the New Mexico Hispanic Heritage Committee and Enlace New Mexico, going over to Jessica. But Irma has her hand raised, so mira, she's giving me the finger. Irma,
if I may, Brian, you know me, I'm always going to jump in with my comments. But before, I'm getting older now, so I have to speak before I forget what I'm going to say. So as we're talking about Robert, one thing I do want to make sure everybody knows, and those of us that know him personally know this already, but Robert will always answer his telephone. He has his cell phone with him all the time. And if I don't answer and I call him back, I hear it from him. It's like, why don't you answer your phone? And the thing is, Robert, he just has, you know, we all carry our notepads or our smartphones with all the information in here. Robert has it all in his head. And you know, I manage our customer service department, and sometimes I get some questions that I just can't resolve. Robert knows our system intimately, and he will respond with the technical answer, but there's that certain level of humanity that this man has. And he will always return a phone call. He will always return a phone call, no matter what the question is. And he really means that when he says you need to communicate with people. It's just face the situation. If somebody's upset about something, just call them up and hear them out and explain. People just want an explanation. And that's one of my biggest takeaways that I have from him is just face it. Don't avoid any situation. Just face it, talk to that individual, give that person that respect and give them your time. And situations can be resolved.
No
We
doubt.
may not know the answer right then and there, but as long as we acknowledge their issues, and then we can always get back to them. But that's one of the things that I truly appreciate about Robert, that I have learned so much about. And then, you know, I started with the Rail Runner like 1 month before our service started. And Brian, you mentioned earlier the day of the first day that we started running, and we phased out our service. We started from, I think, from Albuquerque to Bernalillo. That day, I remember it was a big hoopla. The governor, all of the officials, all of the legislators, all of the Pueblo leaders were there. And guess where I was? I was in the office because that phone was ringing nonstop. I was the customer service department. We didn't have a customer service department. And it was just such an exciting day that it was just a nonstop telephone was ringing off the hook. But one of the things also we mentioned Lawrence Rael. Lawrence was just is an amazing leader. And one of the things that he implemented, and we still hold true, Lawrence has been gone from the COG for a few years, but we have real people that will take your call every day. We don't have this automated, you know, and maybe it makes sense for corporate America. You save money and people keep clicking a number for this, the question, click here. But when you call the New Mexico Rail Runner Express number, customer service number, you're going to speak to a live person, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. And something that I feel is very, very important is I try to have our customer service representatives be able to speak in Espanol, because many times we do have, and people will hesitate from calling if they feel that, well, yo no hablo inglés, no puedo hacer mis preguntas. A nosotros, por favor, llámenos, porque sí podemos hablarle en su idioma. We need to find somebody that speaks different languages, but right now we have English and Spanish to provide the information. And I'll turn it over to Jessica now. But
The train is leaving, Irma. We got to get it. We got to get on board and get going down the tracks there. I've got all my Rail Runner whistles with me today. I almost forgot to bring them out, but you inspired me to do that. Thank you, Irma. Appreciate your beautiful and powerful words, and it really is fantastic. Communication is key, like Don Orlando Marquez said here in the chat. He said communication is key and necessary, and I couldn't agree more. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jessica Perea, one of our incredible Enlace mentors, leaders. In fact, she's even been promoted. She's now an ambassador. So she is an Enlace ambassador. So, embajadora, dígame.
Thank you. And thank you, Irma, for mentioning the importance of communication. As I learned, a fun fact, Irma and Robert are the only Hispanics in leadership positions for the New Mexico Rail Runner. So I think it's super important that you mentioned that thing about language barrier. And my question for today is, what made you to decide to become civil servants and someone who works in government instead of private sector?
You want to go, Robert, or you want me to
Well,
go?
I think mine was an easy choice because I've been railroading for a long time, and it was an easy transition to go from long distance passenger service to commuter service. And again, I think I had the opportunity when they first put the bid for a contractor to bid on this. I was with Amtrak and I was on the select committee for Amtrak, and I had the opportunity to meet Chris and Lawrence, and I think this job came up at the right time for me. So it was a career move, and it was an easy transition going from corporate America to smaller government. So, and it was about the people that I met, and you're only as good as the people around you. And like, I got people like Irma and my whole staff that are stellar people.
Hey, let me interrupt Irma and Jessica. I know you're shocked that here I am again talking, but it is Cafecito con Colon, so I get to do that. And Jessica is always so gracious. But Robert, one of these days we have to have you back to talk a little bit about the legacy and the story of Amtrak, because New Mexico always finds itself on the chopping block, and we have to bring every bit of political might we have to save New Mexico. And now under the new infrastructure plan, there's potential that we're actually going to have a more robust program. They've got all those great lines named different things, but you probably worked through some of those real tough discussions about Amtrak service in New Mexico. So I want to stay focused on the Rail Runner, but I forget your history. And so one of these days I want to talk about Amtrak story, and because I think that's great history that most people forget about. New Mexicans, most people just don't know the story of Amtrak and how important the federal government is to it, and the oversight, regulation, and the control that we have for access for our New Mexicans to that mode of transportation. It's not been an easy road, and we've always had to fight for our Amtrak space.
No, and if you look at where Amtrak services, they service a lot of small communities on this territory, and I think that's important. It's important for people to realize that it does bring people from the smaller cities into Albuquerque. So that's a good point.
Thank you, Robert. So I'll let Irma go and talk about, I always tell people I get handed the microphone that's followed by polite applause, but there are thousands of civil servants out there that go to work every day, and they work hard, and they're making sure that we have dual language customer service representatives. So when somebody calls and they don't speak English, they can get the information they still need in their own language. And they go home at night and they're tired. And then the next morning they get up and do it again. And rarely do you get the applause. And so I think this is such a great question from Jessica, because it gives us an opportunity to specifically thank both of you for being civil servants, government employees that we talk about. In the old days, when your parientes, when they were in civil service, we used to celebrate them. We used to lift them up. If you're in the federal government, you're a GS whatever. And we used to say, wow, what a great person dedicated their lives to serving the community in government. And now we've lost that. And so I'm trying to bring it back. So I want to lift you up, celebrate you, and say thank you for being New Mexico civil servants. Individually and collectively, I want to thank all our civil servants through this episode today. So Irma, tell us why civil service? Like you're right off the cover of Latina magazine in your Rail Runner red and all those umbrellas. You got incredible mental capacity. I've seen you navigate some pretty choppy waters, and you are skilled. Yet instead of taking that to the private sector and being on the cover of Latina magazine as one of the most important CEOs in America, you decided to be a civil servant. What led you to that decision? That's Jessica's question with a little more flair.
Yeah. No, that's a really good question. And, honestly, my journey was, I found myself newly divorced, almost 40 years old, had a little child that I was responsible for. And, I worked for corporate America. I worked for nonprofits doing amazing work that I truly love. But my reality was I needed a solid way to end my career and the benefits. So I came across the Mid-Region Council of Governments. which for me was just so incredible because it offered me the opportunity to work for government, but at the same time, we're a separate government entity that gives us a little more flexibility. And then having Robert, I worked directly for Robert and Chris Blewett, and it was just the amount of flexibility that these men gave me just allowed me the opportunity to just soar. You know, I came to work for the COG. I took quite a cut in pay, but I saw the potential there. Transportation was brand new to me. I didn't even know how to read the train or bus schedule. Robert had to teach me how to read the train schedules. But that's the thing. It's like the love for community and the experience and the passion that I have for customer service just allowed me the opportunity to just really kickstart my career in government. And that's what I say to my team of customer service. I oversee a team of like 5 people. And that's what I tell them. It's like, whatever you want to do, you know, look at what is your passion? What is your desire? And then just apply. And if you stay within, my old misconception when I was a younger person was, oh, I don't want to work for the government because how boring to do the same job for 25 years. That's not true, because you can move around to different departments. You can expand your knowledge, and when you find the right people that you're working for and with, there are many opportunities. But being a civil servant has just allowed me the ability, and it's always, those of you who know me, it's all about my son. Being a mother has been the best title I have ever accomplished. And it's still, my son is 24, almost 25 years old, and it's still what I do. Everything that I do, I know he's watching, and it's always a way to teach our young people to fly and just do whatever Jessica, I'm so proud of you. I've watched your career path through Cafecito and all your work with Enlace. And I know I'm going to be looking up at you later. You're going to be one of our state leaders. I know that.
That's for sure. And I think everything you said, the proof's in the pudding, folks. The proof's in my Mexican putty, the fluffy. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank.
¿Qué es
My dessert?
No es flan, es
No.
the New Mexico fluffy, right?
Yeah.
¿Cómo se llama?
Anyway, the proof's in the pudding, as they'd say in English. And Antonito is just, he is a stellar human being. And that's because of what you just said, Irma, that you know that you're always modeling behavior and that he is a priority and you have poured into him. And as a result, he is an incredibly poised, articulate, intelligent, compassionate, passionate human being who has also become a community servant in our nonprofit sector, or our social profit sector, as I like to call it. And he's an opinion leader. And you know, I just want to validate what you just said as not having been just a choice you made, but a good end result that you're now enjoying. So anyway, I just wanted to add that in and congratulate you on that. I'll let it go back to Natias. That's what I couldn't think of, Natias.
Yes.
Yeah, bárbaro. I mean, sin palabra. I was without that word, but anyway, the proof's in the Natias, and Antonio is the proof. Good job, Irma.
Thank you.
I love that boy.
Thank you.
Jessica, take it away.
Irma, for such beautiful words. They're so inspiring. And like you said, you took a pay cut, but being a civil servant is what you knew was right in your heart. And I think that's very beautiful. My next question is going to be, I know during the pandemic, everybody took a hit. I know small businesses took a hit. How did COVID affect Rail Runner? And now that we're the restrictions are lining up now that people are vaccinated. How does this look for people wanting to get on the Rail Runner? What are the safety measurements like, the sanitation, capacity, everything like that?
So I could start,
Yes.
when the pandemic started, we stopped complete operations, and we stopped operations for almost 52 weeks. So we stopped March 8th, and I think we started up again the first part of this March. Uh, And it kind of helped us out because during that time we were implementing positive train control, which was a federal mandated safety system, which it gave us the opportunity to keep people employed. We didn't have to lay anybody off, so we were running test trains and installing equipment and stuff. As far as now we're up and running, we're running a reduced schedule. We're working with the governor's office, to try and get this thing back on track, trying to get us back on full service. As far as our safety measures, we run a reduced schedule. We have what we call is the social distancing, where we block out seats. We are sanitizing the trains at night, midday. I have my maintenance people sanitizing the stations. Our ticket clerks and conductors and engineers everybody has to wear a face mask. Everybody has to, sanitize their hands. There's no, you can drink and be on your phone, but it's got to kind of be limited. There's no food service. I know what else, Yuma, we're trying to get the message out. We want to get back to food service. We're hoping that pretty soon, talking to the governor's office, we can get this thing back running full time. But again, we're working with their staff and her office, and we have, my boss and his boss have weekly conference calls with them every day to see where we're at. So.
Yes, one thing also, Robert, is we are not accepting cash payment for your passes. So just be prepared. You can buy your ticket online from our website ahead of time. We have a mobile app that you can also purchase your tickets, activate them once you board the train, or you can buy them on board the train from our ticket agents, but it is debit credit card only at this time. Right now we're running service Monday through Friday. We restarted our service on March 8th, and we're running 6 trains a day, Monday through Friday. So we are running the full corridor from Belen to Santa Fe with bus connections throughout the corridor. There's lots of really good information on our website as far as your bus connections to make it to your final destination, or call our customer service agents. They're happy to help you plan your trip. But right now, yes, Monday through Friday service, 6 trains. We are operating out of 10 of our 15 stations currently. So we're not stopping at each and every station right now, as Robert said, until we get permission to expand on our service. And there he goes. He's on the phone all the time like that.
Thank you for that. I know a lot of people don't even know. I didn't know the trains were back running, and so thank you for that information and how to access tickets, because I know now that COVID hit, a lot of things are different. Now a lot of things, online payments, no more cash payments. And my final question for you is, I'm really interested in the project you mentioned earlier. Are there any more projects that Rail Runner is working on, or any future plans? Can you speak about that a little bit?
Well, right now, the Rail Metro Access is what we have at this time. But like I said, we want to really grow that, the number of agencies that we're working with. And then hopefully that'll become, instead of just a 1-year grant, hopefully we can implement that because our bottom line really is to provide service. We're not here to, there is no public transportation agency anywhere in the country that is making a profit. So, we do have people that are opposed to that, but that is a reality. And that is part of why we all pay taxes, is to be able to provide these type of services for our community. So hopefully that will become a permanent program that we're able to offer these passes to our to the community to kind of kickstart their career. You know, they need to get to their job across, and it just expands now with COVID. We see that many times we are working, we can live in one place, but our job is somewhere else, and we do need to commute to our offices, to our place of work, not every day like we used to, but so there are many, many changes, and we want to stay on the pulse of all of these changes. We want to be able to be there to provide the services that are needed to the community.
Absolutely.
Our beautiful
Absolutely.
state.
To your point about break even and everybody looking at the balance sheet and saying, well, you're not breaking even, you're not a revenue source for the state. Let's not forget that 24 hours ago was the beginning of Earth Day, and there are definitely consequences for having strong public transportation that are positive consequences for our environment. And so clearly that is something that has to be part of the dialogue, and particularly this week as we talk about Earth Day and the importance of it the last 72 hours since we started celebrating on the 21st and going through today. But the one thing I want to make sure, and we're coming up on the top of the hour, so Selena is about to say goodbye. I did post up something in the links there regarding the New Mexico Domestic Violence Coalition, or the New Mexico Coalition Against Domestic Violence, excuse me, and Teresa's good work. Tere, I just posted one of the links to one of your events that you're hosting. Appreciate your leadership on that, as this is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, as we're coming up on the last week of April. I wanted to make sure and announce that. Thank you for my mask. I've been wearing it quite frequently. The other thing I wanted to talk about here at the end was to have us mention some of the great work that Dr. Jennifer Gomez Chavez is doing. I know I made my online contribution, and Irma, I think you've got an event coming up mañana, no?
Yes, tomorrow morning, MS Walk. We're going to support Dr. Jennifer Gomez Chavez, my beautiful dear friend, who the name of her team is J Goes Glitz and Glam. So we will be there walking with her tomorrow morning. It's a virtual event. It's a national fundraising celebration. Jen has been so proactive nationally with the Multiple Sclerosis Society.
Well, and celebrated, let me be clear, more specifically, she's been celebrated, lifted up, and applauded for her incredible ability to bring this issue to the forefront in New Mexico. She is just known nationally as a leader, but also has received awards and recognition for that great work, and it is so well deserved.
Yes, I'm so proud of her. I'm there to support her. I can't ride a bicycle, but I can walk. So I'll be there tomorrow morning. We're going to be walking with her, celebrating. Robert's going to take us out to breakfast afterwards. So, hey, what more can we ask for?
Well, Robert didn't know that, but he knows now. So that's pretty awesome. Again, as Robert says, he's a good leader because he knows how to take orders from a bunch of Hispanas. And I'm taking a page out of his book for the rest of my day, today at least. So with that, I think, Jessica, we're almost out of time. So should we give our guests an opportunity to say maybe a few last words about anything they want our Cafecito colleagues, my extrovert therapist, to know before they go about
Yes.
Mr. Cog or New Mexico's Rail Runner Express?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. We'll close with El Jefe. So Irma, what are your last thoughts?
Well, my last thoughts are we really do invite everyone, if you have not been on the train, on the New Mexico Rail Runner, please join us. Jessica, I have an open invitation. I'm going to take you on a train ride. We've got to catch the train, head on out to throughout the corridor. I want to show you, because I always take it as a teaching opportunity, because we are the Rio Metro Regional Transit District. So the train is the spine of this district. The train runs a 100-mile corridor from Belen to Santa Fe, but we can expand so far beyond. We have bus service that brings you from Socorro to our train station in Belen. We have students that attend school in Socorro, so they can catch the train all the way in Santa Fe and go all the way. So that expands it, another 30 miles south. The same with, we have a really good working relationship with all of the bus service. We have our own buses that we that we provide the Real Metro bus system, but we also connect with ABQ Ride. We also connect with the North Central Regional Transit District. If you get off at the station in Santa Fe, you can catch the blue bus and go. I had to take the trip myself because I can't explain the service until I've experienced it. So Antonio and I caught the train in downtown Albuquerque, got off at the South Capitol Station in Santa Fe, caught the blue bus, and went all the way to Taos. I did not have to drive. So those are the kinds of things that we want to teach, especially the young people, Jessica, is we want to get you guys, because you go to another city, you go to Boston, you go to LA, they have really, New York City, really good public transportation. You know, we're not there in New Mexico and we understand that, but it's until we get on that system and we teach I focus on our young people and our seniors, because once you get to be a senior, you don't want to be driving in this crazy traffic anymore. And the young people, you guys, as Brian mentioned, Earth Day, we do need to protect our environment. So what better way? Let's learn about our public transportation system. Thank you all so much. I can talk about this all day long.
It's a shame she's not passionate about her work. No, Roberto. We're going to have Roberto unmute. We're going to end the show the way we started it, which is Robert working hard to be able to be heard.
But while Robert unmutes himself, we have an amazing team of customer service representatives, and I really do encourage you to give us a call and get to know them. 505-245-7245. Okay, Robert.
I can't follow that. I mean, this is my life. I mean, you know, I'm the small fish in the big tank. So how do you follow that? She's a great person, and thank you all for having us on here. And yeah, get out and ride the Rail Runner. Come and see us. We will take care of you.
I think you can take that to the bank. Robert is in the business that picks up and drops off every once in a while, but we are just thrilled that you are in transportation. You brought that private sector expertise to the public sector, and you've been serving New Mexico ever since. We're grateful. Irma, you are passionate about all that you do, whether it comes to raising a beautiful young man in Antonio, or your leadership with the New Mexico Hispanic Heritage Committee that co-hosts this on Fridays, or whether it's in the work you do with Mr. Cobb. We're grateful for every bit of it. And Jessica, why don't you invite everybody to join us again tomorrow for a Cafecito con Colón with Chief Medina.
Of course. I hope to see you all back tomorrow. And don't forget the MS walk, you know?
We love it. All right, my Cafecito colleagues, have a beautiful day. New Mexico, I love you. Let's lift up New Mexico. Reach out to folks in isolation. Tell them they're not alone. Tell them that 57.5% of New Mexicans have been vaccinated with their first shot. Let's get this done, folks. Get vaccinated. Have a beautiful day. I'm out. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Brian.
Thank you for your
Jessica.
time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.